Okay, stream should be fixed now. Anyhow, I got asked to look at some data, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna calibrate these flats first and compare it to whatever is like however they're gonna supposed to look, and that's gonna take a bit because you can't really like integrate multiple calibrate multiple stuff at once for whatever reason. I don't know why. Anyhow, integration flat here, my typical stuff that I'm using to generate my flats. Throw these images in, apply, wait for a second or two or three, and get the flat, which looks about a flat. So I'm gonna take it and save it. All right, then I'm gonna take all of these images, throw them in here, enable the master flat, throw it in here, calibrate. I assume the flats are properly taken, have the same settings as before, the biases for the same settings, and everything is fine. 2 seconds F4, that's fine. 88 seconds F4, that's fine as well. Oh god, why is this taking so long? Doesn't calibration work? Oh, it's DC raw, I think it's because of that. For whatever reason, DC raw doesn't really like running in parallel apparently. Normally calibrating frames takes like a few seconds for me. Maybe it doesn't run multi-threaded probably. Anyhow, this should be done soon. Okay. So I'm gonna run calibration. No, not calibration. I did calibration, so I'm gonna run dpire. At least that runs properly multi-threaded. Well, at least it did at the beginning. Sometimes I feel like, I'm running at a disk limit. I'm actually running into the disk limit, not into processing limit, so I'm gonna copy the files over. I think because otherwise this will take ages. I'm gonna take my SSD here, PI temp, whatever. Normally I would run cosmetic correction, but I don't want to bother with that right now. Come on. It's like really, I'm running in my disk limit here. It's not a processing limit at all. It's like pure disk limit. I'm gonna copy to my SSD. I don't know what focal range it is, but it doesn't actually really matter. I'm gonna run them through my subframe selector. The settings also kinda don't really matter. It's going to be relative anyway. As you can see, I'm using the subframe selector process, which looks a bit different. And this allows also to use stuff like eccentricity, subtracting eccentricity minimum, maximum, SNR weight, minimum, maximum, and so on and so on. So that whole formula can be simplified to like min and max values that I'm typically using. Oh, here, suddenly we are going full speed again. Not running into disk limits anymore. So anyhow, okay, 3 frames of shit, so we're just gonna ignore them, output the rest of them. So what frame is the best? I assume it will be somewhere around here. I'm gonna check the subframe selector for that right after it's done. All right. So 720 apparently is the best frame, which might or might not be true. I don't know. I will see. So take the accepted files. As you can see, I'm sorting all the stuff by the prefix instead of the suffix, so I can just throw them all in the same folder. And using prefixes, I can just easily sort them, and I don't have to search for them or anything, which is cool and good. All right, let's burn the CPU a bit. If you save your process icons for calibration and for integration, you can just reuse them. You just save the default settings that you want, and then you drag them with that icon here, drag them on the surface, and then you can select them all and press right click and save. Then when you start PixInsight next time, you can just open them. And this is how I saved all my processes with prefixes and default settings that I'm okay with or that I use typically for integration. So I'm just clicking run process, drag files in, run, clicking next process, drag files in, run, and so on and so on and so on. And once that's done, I can just, and then I'll have a ready-made image. So again, sorted by prefix, it's unique. So I know these are the registered files. I'm gonna go with them. Linear fit clipping, scale 0 offset, clip low, clip high. Let's go with a larger buffer. Let me make it 15. Make it 17,000. That could be close. Make it 15,000. And buffer size, from what I understand, should be about the image size that you have. So 230 megabytes is one image, so we'll make the buffer size like 250 or something, and then run it. And that will burn my CPU, of course, because it does some evaluation, what clipping to use, what pixels to clip, and stuff like that. And it does some noise evaluation on the images before it does any integration. So kind of taking a while. Oh, I didn't set the proper reference. That doesn't matter for now. I just want to see what result will come out of that integration and if it can be properly subtracted with ABE or DBE for that matter. I'm really not 100% sure, but I think it uses the scale factors and calculates the zero offset and stuff like that. And if you can fit the whole integration into your RAM, the integration will go faster. It won't go fast anyway. The more images you have, the longer it takes. I think the worst thing that I have integrated are like maybe 250 DSLR images. Oh man, that shit took ages. You won't believe it. You won't believe it. Yeah, integration is almost done now. Last channel, and then we can take a look at it, see. Because I'm not 100% sold on if this actually works as expected yet. No, it might help. It might have not helped. I really can't tell at this point. All right. Stuff is done. It's integrated, and I see a gradient, which is to be expected in some form, but I think I see very similar issues to flats that were there before. We can crop this and then run an ABE and see if and what and where and whatever result we'll get here. So ABE is not really the best process, but it's the best process to see quickly if there are issues. So the ABE extracted about something like this, and nope. Nope, nope at all. Nope at all. That's sad. Really not sure what's wrong with that image. The flats didn't take properly. It doesn't have strong raining noise per se anymore, but it has some flat issues here. Yeah. I don't know. At this point, I actually don't know what is really wrong with this data. I mean, maybe ABE is not the best process for this, so I can just run a quick dynamic background extraction, some high tolerance or something. just take like something like that and see if that helped any. I'm just doing a very rough dynamic background extraction now. Don't really care if there are stars in the way or not. This looks like, why does it have this weird discolorization? What is wrong with that data? Is that actually an issue of the gradient itself? I'm asking myself. Could it be? The gradient is still present. And especially the ring is still present. So something at some point went wrong with those calibration frames. And I do suspect it's actually the flat. So I decided to do the same. So I'm deleting all this here. But do the same, but calibrate everything without flats. Rather, I don't calibrate it at all. I'm just going to dewire it and then see how it goes from there. Because this ring, I had similar issues, and they were mostly caused by the focal length not being equal with the lights and dark and the flats not having the exact same focal length. This does show 200. And I think the flats also show 200, but as I said, it's not ideal because you never know if this is actually 200 or 190, or maybe the lights were taken at a slightly different focal length. That would be enough to destroy all of this here. And make the flats not work at all. Oh, what the fuck is your problem, man? Oh, it's output. Oh. Probably should not output frames if there's nothing to output, but measure them first. I want to measure and stack and see where I end up, what I end up with. Because if it looks the same, well, then I don't know. If it actually looks the same without flats and you get the same ring, then I really don't know what the issue might be. Okay. So there's a gradient here. I can see it. It's from there's one flat gradient, and I think I see that ring here. And I need to check the histogram transformation. Yeah. And this should be no problem. The image is exposed pretty far, but technically it should. I'm just gonna integrate it again and check. And regret that I'm still not in bed and it's 12 o'clock. It's actually 12:30. What I didn't do though is actually I could try and blink through them and then use no local normalization. And maybe the gradient is not as bad on some images and can be repaired. But given how strong the integration shows the gradient, I'm pretty sure it is there. Okay, it's a pretty stupid thing here. Oh god, it gets only brighter. I can still see it at the least gradiented thing. I can still see some ring going on here, so I suspect that this integration actually won't do much, but I'll try and see. So my other theory would be that there has been some light, like a street light or something, that was shining in some way on the image, or rather on the sensor, that it kind of created this internal reflections, and this is what you see as this ring. This is my suspicion right now. It's a fair possibility because I don't know what your imaging conditions were, and if you have such stupid gradient with a reflection inside, you won't be able to fix it. Oh, sorry. Fix it with flats. Yeah, my categories. Yeah, Cat definitely agrees. Yeah, she really doesn't like your image, I have to say. Oh fuck, I actually generated drizzle data. Whatever. Yeah, I really don't know. I can't tell you what the actual issue here is. If you have, it might be. I think it is some sort of internal reflection of the lens. That's the only explanation that I have for the circular gradient that you have over that image, because yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. It's really difficult to say without looking at the actual position, the position of the sky tracker, how it was put down, and where it was put down exactly, and what other lights there might have been. Like when I'm imaging, I have no light around me, none at all. I don't even start if I have any sort of source of light next to me somewhere. I don't even start imaging from there. So if I integrate this now and run an ABE or DBE or whatever, and I still have this gradient here, then this is a lost cause, at least for normal flat reduction. And you need to do a DBE with a higher grade and more points, and put points on the ring and put points outside the ring and hope that you kind of get that ring gradient away. Yeah, middle of the city is not the best place to do astrophotography. You might want to consider moving outside the city or to somewhere where there's less um, street lights and stuff, and not shoot from like the center of Amsterdam or something. That probably won't work. Cat also agrees with that. Anyhow, I need to look at it, and as I said, maybe you can fix it with a proper, very strong DBE, but you will ruin all your chances on any sort of uh, background that looks somewhat good. It might will need multiple DBE passes, but yeah. Okay, so the image. Yeah, I still see this gradient going on here. And from the stack already I can tell if I run ABE on this, then it will look like shit. Sadly. Looks fine if you don't stretch it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and you can see the bias lines because I didn't calibrate the image with bias. Here you go. The stuff your bias at least did remove, so this is a completely uncalibrated frame. And the flats also removed that dust spot, but they left us one of these alive. Yeah, so there's that. I guess there's not much you can do about that image aside from a very, very, very strong dynamic background extraction and place a lot of points carefully. Then you might get a somewhat decent image out of it. It's possible. It's definitely possible. It will just take time. In any case, I wouldn't waste any more time trying to take more flats or integrate more stuff, because as far as I can tell, there's nothing you can do about that ring of doom. All right. I'm sorry to give you this message of, yeah, your shit's fucked, yo. That's pretty much what I can say about that. And holy shit, that background. Maybe it also. Ah, fuck! I closed the image, the original image already. Oh, look at this beautiful green. Yeah, it still sucks. Yeah, you're pretty much out of luck here. It's very much fucked. No matter what I do. Sad. Orion is pretty well on this. There's some good data. There's some good, whatever. Like, I can't even properly stretch this. Yeah, some good nebulosity here. Horsehead is a bit low and not so good. Yeah, yeah. Not much else I can say about it. Except, oh, you got the Ring of Doom in one of your first images, and that's like the worst thing that could have happened to you. Any case, Doc Akon signing